There's this kid who kind of came out of nowhere, and within just a single year, he became one of the biggest names in the entire Roblox community. If you've spent even a little bit of time on Roblox, chances are you've probably heard this name floating around. Maybe you've even seen a donation nuke go off in a server, or seen a tweet about somebody giving away 1,000,000 Robux. Even if you don't know the full story, you've probably seen what he's done, because this isn't about some random kid who made a decent game and then dipped. This is someone who changed a whole part of Roblox, built a moment everyone was talking about, made millions of Robux, and gave away millions of Robux. And somehow, he was only 16. This is the story of Hazem. Now, technically his current name is Hazem, but that wasn't always the case. His journey's full of usernames, most of which sounded like NPC generated names that didn't even try. One of them being Manly OP Strongman 37. Not gonna lie, that name sounds like you just slammed your face on the keyboard and then pressed enter. Still, behind all those weird usernames was a kid who was already scripting and building games, way before people even touched the Roblox toolbox. His first known game, Hazem Builds, was dropped in 2019. It wasn't some breakout hit, it didn't trend, but it showed that he wasn't playing around. Even back then, Hazem was deep into Roblox, or just deep into the platform in general, and he wasn't just playing games, he was figuring out how to make them. And that mattered because most people don't dive that deep unless they're serious. From 2019 to 2021, things were pretty quiet. No viral blow up, no YouTube trending, just silence. But that's usually how things start up. Anyone who's ever built something knows that the quiet years is where the real progress happens, when no one's watching and you're still putting in the work anyway. And when Hazem came back, that boy didn't miss. In 2021, he started releasing games again, but this time it definitely felt different. The first was the compliment game, which wasn't really a compliment game at all. Every time you clicked, it roasted you. The idea was completely flipped, and to be honest, that's kind of genius. Then there was Music Maker, a game where you could make your own beats using a grid system. It was a little Roblox music tool. It was pretty simple and cool. And then there was Two Truths and a Lie, a party style game that brought social deduction into the Roblox space. Now, none of these games were insane or massive, but it showed something important, which was originality. And then came Disc, a game that let players send actual Discord messages from Roblox, like real messages inside of the game Roblox. Looking back at it, that barely even sounds real. It stopped working after Discord updated their API, but that game was so ahead of its time. All this kind of thinking doesn't come from following trends. It comes from just being 5 steps ahead. Still, all of these games, none of them blew up. Not yet. But then, toward the end of 2021, Hazem had finally dropped something that started to pick up some real traction. Type Racer. It's exactly what it sounds like. You type fast to race others. It was simple and it was addictive. YouTubers started picking up this game in YouTube videos, and when Hazem added the Squid Game update, right when Squid Game was peaking, the game popped off. Player count started rising, and for the first time, Hazem had some real momentum. Then, on February 7th, 2022, Hazem would release a game that would change everything. Please donate. He announced this game on Twitter with barely any hype, saying, "I made a stand game where you can have others tip and donate at your stand, or donate to other stands." That was it. No promo, no ads, just straight up a good vibe. Within just 2 days, it nearly had 1,000 concurrent players, and that number kept climbing. The genius in Please Donate was in its simplicity. It cut through the messy systems that the other donate games were using. No confusing UIs, no roundabout shirt purchases, just a stand, a button, and a direct line of generosity from one player to another. But then, it got deleted. Just 2 weeks after the launch, the game was vanished off Roblox. For most developers, that's a death sentence. But Hazem, he didn't freak out. He patched it, he fixed some things, and the game got reinstated that same day. And then after that, the game exploded. On February 25th, Flamingo made a video on Please Donate. After that, it was a domino effect. Creators like Creekcraft, Project Supreme, Dennis, they all hopped on it. pause, but they were all on the trend. Every time a creator would drop a new video, the player count would skyrocket. My boy Hazem was patching, fixing bugs left and right because of how hot these servers were. In its first month, Please Donate hit 30 million visits. 30 million visits. No ads, no partnerships, just pure momentum. Then Hazem started adding donation effects. The first was the nuke. If someone donated 100,000 Robux, a massive nuke animation would happen across the server. It was crazy, dramatic, and instantly iconic. Hazem nuked creators nuked fans, and people were just nuking people for fun. It became part of Roblox culture overnight. And behind the scenes, Hazem was earning 10% of every donation. And quietly, that started to add up to millions. But then came Smite, a donor's avatar using a giant hammer to slam and shake the entire server. These weren't just effects, they were like entire events, and they kept people coming back. By July 2022, Hazem wasn't just rich, he was the richest person on Roblox. But then something unexpected happened. On an alt account, Hazem posted a message. He said, "I make games and I've kept it a secret from my parents for years now, and I want to tell them, but I'm really nervous. What should I do?" And this kind of shocked people, because behind all the nukes, all the smites, and all the giveaways, there was just a kid, 16 years old, sitting on digital wealth and changing lives in game. And after all that, still too nervous to tell his parents? But honestly, I get it. Imagine trying to explain to your parents that you're successful on the internet. That feels impossible to explain. Like, try saying, "I gave away 10 million fake dollars to someone and now I'm famous," to your dad. Let me know how that goes. Most people would stop right there, ride the wave, cash out, and just chill. But Hazem, he doubled down. This dude rented a billboard in Times Square, no joke. He told his Twitter followers that the most liked tweets will go up, and then actually paid to run Roblox memes in New York City for 48 hours. This type of move feels like it shouldn't even be possible, but somehow it was. Then in April 2023, Hazem dropped another donation effect. And to promote this, he gave away 10 million Robux in his Discord. Over 30,000 people entered. And the first winner didn't respond, so he re-rolled it. And the new winner was someone named Moot1, who then publicly said, "DevX will only give me $25.5 thousand payout, but that's not that much. So I'm thinking of selling it on eBay for $10,000. He won $25,000 and called it not that much. Hazem refunded the Robux, banned him, and then moved on. Moot got nothing. And instead of slowing down, Hazem switched things up again. Around that time, Roblox made a policy change that made it harder to redeem gift cards across regions. And this made a lot of creators stuck. So, Hazem, being the superhero he is, made a solution. He launched Hazem.gg, a simple code redemption site that let players get Robux through game passes instead. You just enter the code and get the Robux. It ran through an alt account that was loaded with millions, so it worked effortlessly. He tweeted cryptic hints, hid codes, and just turned this whole thing into a full-on scavenger hunt. The community was obsessed. The game's player count skyrocketed again. 2 years after the launch, it hit 25,000 concurrent players. And then Hazem would release a new game, Dice. You would roll a number, get a number, multiply it by 20 Robux, that's your payout. It's stupidly simple, but not really built to last. Most versions you see now are knockoffs or just scams. In just 2 years, Hazem went from a kid with some weird default username to someone who completely rewrote what a Roblox game could be. Not just for developers, but for creators, for players, and for the Roblox culture. People would still try to question his motives, like saying he only donates to big creators or he only donates for the clout. But if you actually watched his streams, he was giving away hundreds and thousands of Robux to random players for fun, for no reason at all. And here's the truth. None of this was supposed to happen. Not like this. Not from a 16-year-old. Not from scratch. Not in a platform that's crowded like this. But it did. And whether you love Hazem or hate him, you can't ignore the fact of this millions of Robux, viral games, Times Square billboards, and server breaking effects came from a teenager with a weird username and the courage to keep building games, even when nobody was watching.